1300 hours, Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan, the news read by Hassan Gilani. First, the headlines. Information Minister says Pakistan is working with regional and international powers for an inclusive government in Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, the US anti-missile defenses intercepted 5 rockets that were fired at Kabul's airport early this morning. Minister for Science and Technology has said the government is making all-out efforts to take the opposition on board for electoral reforms and use of electronic voting machine in elections. The government has announced to inculcate booster vaccine shots to those who are planning to travel abroad from Wednesday. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Indian troops in their fresh act of state terrorism have martyred another Kashmiri youth in Poonch district. And now the news in detail. Minister for Information and Broadcasting Chaudhry Fawad Hussain has said Pakistan is working with regional and international powers for an inclusive government in Afghanistan. In an interview with TRT World, he said, forming government in Afghanistan is the responsibility of the Afghan people, but the regional powers have to help Afghanistan to stabilize. The Information Minister said Pakistan's efforts for inclusive government in Afghanistan must be supported. He warned if the world repeated the same mistake of abandoning Afghanistan, it will create a hub of extremist organizations right at the border of Pakistan, which is hugely worrisome for us. The Information Minister said if Afghanistan does not get stabilized, millions of Afghans will start moving towards Pakistan. He said Pakistan is already hosting 3.5 million Afghan refugees and our economy is not strong enough to take more refugees. Minister for Science and Technology Shibli Faraz says the government is making all-out efforts to take the opposition on board for electoral reforms and use of electronic voting machine in elections. Addressing a ceremony in Peshawar today, he said the use of electronic voting machine will enable over 1.8 million overseas Pakistanis to exercise their right to vote in the elections. The minister termed the objections on machines by the opposition as baseless. Parliamentary Secretary of National Health Services Dr. Nosheen Hamid has announced that those who are planning to travel abroad would get booster vaccine from Wednesday. Talking to a private news channel, she said doctors, health workers and low immunity population in the country would be allowed to get free of cost booster vaccine shots soon to strengthen their defense system against the Delta variant of COVID-19. Nosheen Hamid said the ratio of vaccination has increased significantly and NCOC would conduct a review of the SOPs on 13th of next month. Cargo handling activities at Pakistan's ports recorded double-digit growth during the last fiscal year. According to a tweet of Ministry of Maritime Affairs, cargo handling activities at Karachi Port Trust and Port Qasim Authority posted an impressive growth of 25% and 13.72% due to rise in the country's exports and imports. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Indian troops in their fresh act of state terrorism have martyred one Kashmiri youth in Poonch district. The youth was killed by the troops during continued military and search operation near LOC area of the district. Meanwhile, the All Parties Hurriyat Conference has strongly reacted to the assertions made by the so-called governor of territory, wherein he boasted that India would not tolerate the Hurriyat leadership, which represents the popular demand for a peaceful settlement of the Kashmir dispute through its right to self-determination. According to Kashmir Media Service, the APHC spokesman in a statement said that the fascist Indian regime treats the people of Kashmir worse than animals, having no rights at all. He said that a small area with 8 million population has been besieged by 1 million occupation forces, blinded by the worst kind of Hindu fascism and shielded by draconian laws. In Afghanistan, the U.S. anti-missile defenses intercepted 5 rockets that were fired at Kabul's airport early this morning as Washington rushes to complete its withdrawal by tomorrow. U.S. and allied forces are hurrying to evacuate their remaining citizens and at-risk Afghans to meet the deadline. Afghan media reports that the rocket attack was mounted from the back of a vehicle. The United States and the allies have evacuated about 114,400 people since 15th of this month, but tens of thousands more desperate Afghans face left behind. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has urged countries to fulfill their obligations to prevent and prosecute cases of enforced disappearances. In his message to mark the International Day of honoring victims of this serious human rights violation being observed today, he said, "Together we can and we must end all enforced disappearances." Saudi Arabia has affirmed its readiness to receive as many Umrah pilgrims as per the quota agreed with the various Islamic countries before the outbreak of coronavirus pandemic. Deputy Minister for Hajj and Umrah Services Dr. Amar Al-Madda said that all preparations to receive the pilgrims have been completed. And this is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.